Energy is one of the most used things in the world today, but considering that some kinds of energy are not good for the world, one has to wonder, out of the two types of energy, is it good that conventional energy is still in continuation and or that alternative energy is being rapidly introduced and should replace conventional energy? Well, before we answer the question, we need to understand what each type of energy is. Let's start off with conventional energy and its sources. Some conventional energy sources are hydroelectricity, coal-powered electricity, crude oil, nuclear power electricity, and thermal electricity. Hydroelectricity is used by 30% of the world today. It is created by running water. For example, the Niagara Falls. It provides drinking water and is easier for third world countries to generate the water. It does not cause pollution and is renewable. But on the other hand, it can flood large areas of land that could be used for agriculture. It destabilizes marine ecosystems as well. It is also very costly to build a dam and to tear one down, and it is only restricted to areas with flowing water. Another source of conventional energy is called thermoelectric energy. Thermoelectric power plants turn chemical energy into electrical energy. Special substances called fossil fuels are burned to produce this energy. Some examples are oil and natural gas. Some of the good things about this type of energy is that it's easy to move around, not too expensive, and can be used for different things like heating. But it's also non-renewable and causes pollution, and is only found in some parts of the world. But here are all the locations in Canada. Ontario. Crude oil is a term for unprocessed oil, the stuff that comes out of the ground, also known as petroleum. Crude oil is a fossil fuel, meaning that it was made naturally from decaying plants and animals living in ancient seas millions of years ago. Crude oil provides stuff like gasoline and diesel fuel that runs our cars. Some other good things about crude oil is the most abundant energy resources in the world. The liquid form of oil makes it easy to transport and use. But some of the bad things are that when transported, like in ships, can lead to oil spills, which causes environmental and ecological damage and is non-renewable. Finite resources. Nuclear power is the splitting or merging together of nuclear atoms. Nuclear energy is useful for all types of things, like your homes. Some good things about nuclear power is that it's inexpensive, and it has no atmospheric emissions. It's also a useful energy source, and the fuel can be recycled or a viable form of energy in countries that do not have access to other forms of fossil fuels. Bad things are that it has a potential high risk of disaster, like the Fukushima disaster. On March 11, 2011, the Great Japan earthquake had happened. It did considerable damage to the region. It was a severe double earthquake that lasted about 3 minutes. 11 reactors at 4 nuclear power plants in the region were operating at the time, but shut down automatically when the earthquake started. The earthquake induced a tsunami. The tsunami flushed over the nuclear power station, which actually failed the automatic shutdown procedure, as well as the motors that were supposed to pump the water to cool the reaction units. There was an accumulation of heat that created high pressure and dangerous hydrogen. This caused the explosion of sealed units and the meltdown of the envelopes that isolated the radioactive material and outside environment. The radioactive particles leaked into the air, soil, and water. Despite this, we still have many locations in southern Canada. Another conventional source is coal. It is easy to turn into a liquid and prevents greenhouse gases and does not cost much. It is also the leading source of fossil fuels. But on the other hand, it causes pollution and is very hard to transport, and it's hard to burn into the energy. This map shows its popularity in Canada. Now that we summed up most of the sources of conventional energy, let's talk about alternative energy sources. Some main alternative sources are wind, solar, biofuels, and geothermal. Let's start off with geothermal energy. Firstly, it's renewable and also does not pollute the air. Is consistent, as in it's reliable source, it's efficient, consistent, and better for the environment. But it's very costly. Biofuels are an alternative energy source. Some cons about biofuels are that you need other pesticides and fertilizers to make biofuels. But some good things about biofuels are that the crops for biofuels grow all around the world. Another good thing is that it is renewable. Lastly, you can use oil from fast food restaurants or from gas stations to make biofuels. Another alternative power source is wind. Prices of wind turbine equipment and installation have decreased dramatically over recent years. It's a continuous source of energy, a clean source of energy, and sends no emissions into the atmosphere. It does not add to the thermal burden of the earth and produced no health-damaging air pollution or acid rain. The land can be sued to produce energy and grow crops simultaneously, and it's economically okay. Some disadvantages are there needs to be better ways to store this type of energy. On top of that, the wind turbines take up a lot of land. For most locations, wind is not consistently sufficient, making it an unreliable source. The wind turbines also kill many flying animals that come in its way. The majority of Canada's wind turbines are located in the east. Solar power is possibly the most commonly used of all available renewable energy resources. Converting the power of the sun to a visible residential power is easily accomplished in most parts of the world. One good thing about solar power is that it does not cause pollution. Solar power has a high initial cost, but in the long term, maintenance fees are low. One final con is that pollution interferes with the sun's rays, which lowers the efficiency of the solar power's electricity. Global warming is a huge part of both sources of energy. Many people have different opinions on energy and global warming. Personally, Morgan and I both think alternative energy is better for the world because all alternative energy sources don't cause much pollution or no pollution at all, which is CO2 being released, but most conventional energy sources cause pollution and burn fossil fuels, which create greenhouse gases, and that is not good for the world. And they cause global warming. But alternative energy is renewable and it's easily transportable. It has a lower risk of disturbing ecosystems, and that is why we encourage the rapid introduction of alternative energy sources. Wind, water, sun, energy for the long run.